Your journey can only begin when the self-doubts stop. The first step is harnessing your bravery within. Believing in you is your host, Sean Morris. Hello and good day to you all. My name is Sean, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another Persevering as an Introvert episode on Bravery Within. I'd like to take a few seconds here just to say thank you, as I always do, because I have the most amazing listeners out there, and which I consider my family. I want to say thank you so much for liking, subscribing, rating, sharing the podcast there with everybody that you can share it with. It means the world to me that you're going to take a few minutes of your day there just to listen to my podcast. I can't say thank you enough. We continue to grow crazily, and we're now starting to get folks there that will write me and get a hold of me and stuff there and ask me to talk about certain subjects and stuff there on all my, because we have a total of 4 podcasts. Well, the 4th one is right now we're putting it all together. We're in pre-production, putting it all together. Hopefully within the next week and a half, we're going to start going, and creating the episodes. But I'm going to guess it's probably going to somewhere around a month before we probably actually go live with the podcast. But it's going to be called The Honorable Warrior, and it's all going to be based around helping men, with the mental fight that we go through constantly. It's going to be about just hopefully tips, letting you know that we're there for you, we're behind you 100%. And we're still working on, like I said, we're still in pre-production, we're still putting it all together, but I'm hoping it's something that you're going to really, really like. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's out there for listening to all my podcasts. Remember, you can go to the YouTube page there. They're all organized by series, so that should make it a little bit easier for you. They're available on all major platforms. You can go to Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, wherever you want to listen to. I think there's like 15 different places you can actually pick up the podcast. The new one, though, we're not going to be able to release it right away on, which I use what's called Buzzsprout to let all of my podcasts go out there. Mainly because I use up all my time that I have just with the 3 current series that I have. So, and we're thinking here that the Honorable Warrior is going to be a lot longer episodes because there's going to be 4 of us that are going to be talking during that time. So there's probably going to be a lot more to be said. So those are going to be exclusively on YouTube, mainly because we've got more time there, and it makes it a little bit easier there to have longer shows, so that way you can get a hold of it. I'll let you know when they start coming out. Watch my Facebook page, Sean G. Morris, and everything will be kept there. Everything will be shown there. Updates will be kept there. We'll let you know when they start coming live. I'm really, really excited. I get to work with 3 incredible people. One is my son, Alex. He's going to be on the show. Another one, Chris, was on one of my weight loss ones there, the exercise episode. He is actually going to be part of the round table while we're doing this. And then we have Shelly that's going to be coming on board here and helping us out too there. We're actually going to have a lady in the mix while we talk about all stuff for guys. So it's going to be really interesting because it's going to be a neat blending of all together. But I digress. I'll quit talking about it. You can tell I'm a little fired up about it. I'll get back to my Persevering as an Introvert, the episode here. So today is going to be episode 5, and it is called Our Unwavering Devotion. And one thing that I wanted to talk to everybody out there, and especially if you are an introvert, you already probably got a pretty good grasp of this. But one thing that I've always found, and people really, really find weird, and it throws them completely off guard, is that introverts are so incredibly loving and open once you get to know us. It gets to be where they're kind of shocked. Is like, okay, well, we've always known you to be closed off. We've always known you to be quiet. Well, just because we're that way doesn't mean that we're any less of lovers. I mean, let's be honest here. Everybody likes to have somebody around that you can confide in, that you can trust in. We all have those bad days to where, we go and it was just like, okay, it's overwhelming. I need to vent. I need to get this off my chest. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to find a better person than introverts to talk about that with, because we're very, very good at listening. We want to be there for you. It's actually really incredible, and I've actually had some really good relationships, and a lot of them happened before I started figuring out what is an introvert, what is an extrovert. Some of my best relationships were before I knew that, and I did a lot of things that I didn't understand why I did them, or I didn't even understand. And when I started doing research on what it meant to be an introvert, it kind of blew me away, because it's kind of like, okay, I guess I was doing stuff and I didn't even realize that. It was kind of like it was preordained. I mean, I know that's a big word, and kind of a weird way to look at it. But when you break it down, it's really, really cool, because we're great at listening. We're very empathetic. We want to know. We want to know how your day went. I mean, we genuinely want to know. I mean, I absolutely enjoy when my son comes home, and whether he's in a bad mood or good mood or whatever it is, I like hearing about his day. I like hearing about everything that he went through. There's times that my other friends and stuff there, they'll get with me and talk to me, because they just feel comfortable talking to me. And that is the devotion part of this episode today is not all about just love in a romantic sense. Devotion also means being devoted to our friends and family. Because you can be, devoted, without a romantic side to it. But one thing that we're really, really good at, like I said, is listening. So for somebody like me, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not I'm not a rock star when it comes to the love world. I'll be honest there. And everything that I'm talking about is basically like a general consensus here. But for somebody like me, I've got two things kind of going for me that, for the most part, I've kind of learned that, to me, they're kind of a downfall at times, because I care too much. I'm not the type to basically, okay, I'm only going to go half in. I'm only going to dip my big toe into the water to see if it's cold or not, and then run or whatever. The problem with me is when I decide that I want to be with somebody and I want them in my life, I'm all in. I'm 100%. I'm locked in, and let's do this. You're not going to really find too many more people like us introverts that are devoted, and I have a lot of introvert friends, and they're all the same way. They're very, very standoffish for when you start with a relationship, or even basically opening the door to even let somebody in your life. I mean, that is a huge step for us introverts, because we all know that, I think I've seen this on Facebook one time, is introverts don't want to really meet, or don't want to really go out and look for anybody. We truly believe that we'll be sitting on the couch and they're just going to appear in the living room. And we all know it doesn't work that way. It would be great if it did. It would just be great if we had transporters and somebody beamed into our living room and said, you know what, I want you, you're going to be mine. That would be fantastic, but we all know it doesn't work that way. So for me, I'm not a half in, half out type of guy. Once I start, I'm all in, because I think personally that if you're only going to invest just only 50% of yourself into a relationship, or even only 75% of your relationship, it just invites failure. Now, I know we've all been in relationships, we've all been hurt, we've all been, down that road to where, Poison saying about it, right, of every rose has a thorn. And it really does. You just get used to being hurt, and after a while, when you get old like me, you just start automatically assuming you're just going to get hurt in a relationship. But in my mind, to do anything less than 100% when you go into a relationship just isn't going to work. You need to invest everything you have, heart and soul, into it if you're going to make it work. I know that's really, really scary, especially for us introverts, because we have a hard time trusting, especially in the beginning. Mainly because it's just we have a hard time talking to people. We have a hard time opening up, and to try to get to know an introvert, it's really, really hard, and I'm not gonna lie about that one. There, it's taken some people years before I let them in to learn who I am, to basically see who I am. And most introverts are the same way. We just have a tendency to just want to stay closed off, you know what, and we'll just not worry about a relationship because it hurts. We know and worse yet, we might have to go out and do something, you know. And I'm not the type there that's going to go to a bar and pick somebody up or you know, all the traditional stuff that you talk about. It gets to a point to where you want to be with somebody, you want to be out and about, you want to, you know, be a part of somebody's life, but you don't know how best to go about it because in the past it's always been like, oh, I'm just going to get hurt, they're going to let me down, they're not going to be there for me when I need them the most, they'll walk out of their life. And yes, I have had relationships to where, yes, they have walked out of my life when I needed them the most. And I've had a couple people, and that's a sting that, and I'm sure you know, it hurts, and you just don't ever get over it. I mean, it's like overwhelming. But if you want to get to know an introvert, and this is for all my extroverted friends out there and stuff there, because you guys are the sunshine, you're the center of attention at all the parties, you're the amazing ones, you're the ones that are out there, you know, getting shot down constantly, you're the ones taking the risk, you guys are the ones to be envied, you guys are amazing. And I always wanted to be more like you guys, because it's like, oh, if I just had the courage to go up and talk to somebody, or just to ask a question of everything, to me that would be so fantastic. But I have never been strong in that area. And you're probably thinking, Sean, you talk on a podcast, you know, you're talking to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I don't understand how you would have a hard time. Work-wise, I can walk right up to you and stuff there, and it's not a problem. I'm a good salesman. I can walk right up to you and talk to you about selling something or buying things or anything like that. But when it comes to matters of the heart and love, I'm a lost cause. I'm not going to lie about that one. There's probably a reason that I've been single for over a decade, is because I just don't take that risk. I'm one of the true introverts. It's just like, I'm not going to put myself out there anymore just because it terrifies me so much, because I don't know if the feelings are going to be reciprocated, if they're, you know, are they just going to tell me to go fly a kite, or what's going to happen. But getting to know, you know, an introvert on a personal level is something that our extrovert family and stuff and friends and things there, once you get them to settle down just a little bit, because they're center of attention, they're amazing, I love them to death. And once you finally get them to settle down a little bit, you can finally tell them, hey, this is how I am. And it takes time. It's just like, you know, I think, you know, Shrek put it perfectly. Ogres have layers. Introverts have layers. It's a perfect way of putting it. You know, it takes time to start peeling layer after layer after layer back. Because every time you open and tear off a layer, we feel like we're just being absolutely exposed. Like we're naked in the middle of the street, in the busiest street in New York City. And we're just exposed, and it's just like, oh, we can't do this. It takes time for us to build up that trust with somebody, so that way we feel comfortable opening ourselves up. There was a quote that I had heard one time, and it has always stuck with me. And I think her wisdom is so amazing in this quote. And it's from Julianne Moore. The quote is, loving someone is giving them the power to break your heart, but trusting them not to. It is that is an incredible quote, and it rings so true with me. And I'd have to think with most introverts all the way across the board, because we want to trust. Don't get me wrong. We want to trust. We want to be a part of your life. We want to be invited to the parties and everything else. Now, getting us to go, that's a whole different ballgame. But we do like being invited, because if we're not invited and given the chance to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go, it breaks our heart. I mean, it literally will crush us. But when you start figuring out how to talk to us and invite us and get us out of our shells a little bit, you're going to find somebody that actually does like spending time with other folks. I have a wonderful family that I spend every Friday night with, and there's a total of 5 of us, and we all do different things. And 4 of those 5 are going to be on the podcast there for the new one coming up there for the Honorable Warrior. Those 4 people that I spend every Friday night with, I am closer to those people than anybody than I ever have been. I have a truck driving friend. He was on my show and stuff there, Brian. His show just come out this week here. about eating on the road with a truck driver, he's been my best friend for 15 years. He's been there whenever I've needed him. He's always been amazing for a sounding board to talk to and everything else. But it took him, we're both very closed off. We're both, on top of being an introvert, then you put on top of it being a man where we're supposed to just lock our emotions away. We're not supposed to talk about anything. We're not supposed to show anything. We're just supposed to be these slates where we just walk around like a robot and we don't have any emotion or we don't have any inflections or anything like that. And it is just one long sentence after another. It's just like, I about hurt myself doing that one. You have all of that we're trying to work through. And sorry about that. That's Willow. She's right beside me. I guess she wanted to be part of the podcast. It's trying to figure out how to be open and accepting of people, and it's really, really hard for us. I'm not saying it's impossible, not by any way, shape, or form. I've had some wonderful relationships with people, and not just in a romantic side. It's also for the friendship side, and just even just people that I never get to form a true friendship with, but we're acquaintances. You can still have some pretty good relationships that way, and our unwavering devotion towards those, once you've earned that, is incredible. We're very, very dedicated. We're very loyal. We do everything we can to try to make you happy, to make you feel comfortable. That's just the way we are. We're just very, very giving, and to earn that, it takes some time before you actually get to, experience all of that. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not trying to say that we're snobbish or we're arrogant or anything like that. It's just very hard to explain this. We're just very closed off. But if you give us the time and you basically invest some time and some effort into getting to know us and allowing us to come out of our shells on our terms and our speed, you're going to find somebody that is gonna love you, is gonna trust you, is gonna be there. They'll have your back every step of the way. But it takes time, and I've tried to get other people to understand that when I was going through all my relationships. No, makes it sound like I've had hundreds of them. I really haven't had that many, but it just takes time. And the thing that I have learned is if the people are willing to take the time to slowly get to know me and allow me to come out of my shell and get to know them on my terms, to me, that's somebody that wants to get to know me and wants to spend time with me. So once they basically cross that finish line, then they basically got unlimited access to whatever they know. And that's the way introverts are, because going back to Shrek about layers, that's basically where some of us may only have 4 or 5 layers and then you're through. Some of us probably have 24 layers, and it takes even longer to work through that. And then I hope this is making sense. I'm not sure this is making sense. It makes sense in my head, but then I listen to myself through my headset while I'm doing this, and it's kind of like, Sean, maybe you should have thought about this a little further. I'm hoping it makes sense. If something doesn't make sense, write me an email and I'll try to clarify it a little bit better. But just know that introverts naturally care about people and animals very deeply. Animals actually help us recharge and keep us balanced, so that way we're better people. They kind of like keep us grounded for the most part. It's kind of like if you're a rock star and you're on top of the world and everything else. If you have a pup or something like that, like Willow, she keeps me grounded to where I don't think I'm too highly of myself. I'm not, being crazy about anything. She kind of helps ground me. And then when we play tug of war, or we play fetch or something like that, what that does is it helps me recharge where I feel better, and allows me to go out and talk to somebody else and try to make sense of being the best friend that I absolutely can, or being the best romantic partner that I can. Like I said, it's been probably almost a decade since it's been a romantic relationship with me. But so I'm probably not the best person to talk about this one. I just happen to have the microphone, and I'm lucky enough that you're listening to me. So, but just because of our, we're just naturally quiet, just so you know that. But we have great listening skills. because of that reason, people tend to gravitate towards us for comfort, because when you're upset and you want to talk, the biggest thing that you want is somebody that's going to be there to just listen. Somebody, I mean, most of the time, I don't even have to give recommendations. I don't have to give any thoughts of, okay, this is how I would fix the situation. This is this is my decision on, this is what I would do with it. Most of the time, just having somebody to listen to, it can go so far and be so helpful. And that's where introverts come in, is because we're incredible in that area for listening. So what I did is I sat down when I was writing my notes and stuff here for this podcast, because I wanted to see, what are some of the benefits of dating an introvert, and I had to work at it a little bit there, but these are just some of the things that I came up with. Basically, introverts can help you get in touch with your true self. That's one thing that I found here. Mainly because we hate small talk. What we want to do is we want to dig into what makes you, what are your thoughts, what are your beliefs, can we help you solve problems? Where do you want to be in life? I mean, it's just, we're great with just sitting down and talking on a very deep level. And as I've said before, small talk kills me. It's horrible, but I want to get into a deep conversation with you. I want to get into the meat and potatoes of what makes you you, because in all the years that I have been in a relationship with somebody, I've never betrayed them, to my knowledge. I mean, if I did, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I did. But when somebody tells me something in private, or when they tell me something, and they ask me to promise not to say anything, that stuff's locked in a vault. Now, let's be honest. I'm creeping up on the age here, so let's be honest. Some of it's probably just not there anymore. So it's really easy to keep a secret when you don't even remember what the secret is. But I have always done my very best when somebody has confided in me, never to violate that trust. And that's one thing that introverts are very, very good at. We want you to trust us. We want you to talk to us because we want to talk to you, but we've got to, basically you've got to take the first step forward and just give us time to come out of our shell, and we'll get there. Another thing that I come up with is introverts are masters of mystery. We're not going to divulge everything about us right out of the shotgun. It's like I said, it goes back to the layers thing. You're going to have to sit there and you're going to have to invest some time in us to get us to open up. And like I said before, please don't think that is as arrogance, because that's not who I am, and that's not how I want this to come across. It's just introverts are very closed off and very private. And it will take time for us to open up to you, and we want. It's not that we don't want you to ask. It's not that we don't want to talk. It's just keep in mind that we shut down very easily. We get scared off very easily. But once you earn that trust, then there's nothing that's going to get us to run. There's nothing that's going to get us to buckle. I've always got time, no matter who it is. I've always got time to listen. I've got big shoulders. I'm always listening to people when they have problems. Because I genuinely want to help them. And like I said before, just sometimes talking about it is enough for them to either come up with a solution themselves or to help them feel better. And that's what I like doing, is I like helping people. And like the podcast here and stuff here, this is the most I talk. The vast majority of the time, I'm pretty quiet and I just listen. But unfortunately, if I was to do that, we would have a 50-minute show with about 3 minutes conversation. Be kind of boring, kind of quiet. There's only so many sound effects and so many pictures I can put on the screen to kind of help go through. So, talking in a podcast is kind of important. Introverts basically will have a tendency to have more deeper and more meaningful relationships, I guess is the best way to put that. I can't think of anything else. When I get into a relationship, whether it's friend or romantic, I invest everything I have into it, and I want I want them to know me, and I want to know them. And we do that by basically having the deep conversations like I talked about earlier, and to us that helps, because the more meaningful and the deeper the relationship, the easier it is for us to trust you, because we figure, okay, you're trusting us with something that is very, very close to you, something that is very personal. So me personally, when you start doing that, I have a tendency to come out of my shell, and I'll start talking to you about things that, bother me, or things that scare me, or some of my, favorite things, or some of my unfavorite things. You just start having deeper conversations. To me, that is a huge thing for basically building a healthy relationship, because as far as I'm concerned, the very first layer of any relationship is communication. If you can't talk to each other, or you hide things, or you tell lies just to get through stuff, it's not going to help anything. It's not going to. You're basically setting yourself up for failure, and that's the last thing that you want is failure through all of this stuff, because relationships are hard enough as is, and the last thing that you want to do is set yourself up for failure. So communication is a huge thing for me, and introverts love to listen. So the more you talk to your introvert, that made me sound like you're just kind of a pet, and maybe I am a little bit. But the more you talk to your introvert and allow them to grow slowly and come out of their shells, you're going to be absolutely amazed, and it's going to blow you away with how far they come. And once you get to know them and they start opening up, it's like they have a lot to say. They have actually a lot of opinions. Most of us have great senses of humor. Oh man, I mean, there's a reason why I do my dad jokes of the day. It's because everybody loves them. Yeah, okay, stop your eye roll, and I saw that through the speaker. But that's just one thing that I like to do, is I like to, make people smile. I like to be there for them. I like to if I can take some of that pressure off of them, that's what I like to do. And I know a lot of my introvert friends are the same way. If you have something to say and something that's bothering you, the vast majority of them are going to say, okay, well, let's sit down and let's work this out. Let's get something to drink and figure it out. And that's the neat part about who we are, is we're always willing to dive in and do the best that we can for you through the problem, and most of us are going to stand right beside you. We're going to be like me. Once I invest into a friend or a relationship, I'm all in. I'm there. It doesn't matter, good or bad. I mean, we could be on the Titanic going down together. I'm going to stand there right with you and go down and just say, you know what, hey, it was worth it. Thanks for making my life interesting. Thanks for trusting me. Thanks for being a part of my life. And blah, 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 blah. Under the water you go, and you're done. But we'll be there through thick and thin all the way, as long as you don't basically, for me, I guess when you really break it down, there's only probably two things that would basically break me from not trusting you anymore and not want to be a part of your life. And one of them is unloyalty. If you just flat out, basically, there's so many ways that you can break, feel loyal. I don't ask you, and I'm not one to just throw you away the first time that you're either unfaithful or anything like that. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's times where I'm trusting you with some of the most private things in my life, and if I hear them out and about, or I hear them around the water cooler, or somehow it comes back to me, that breaks my heart. But it doesn't mean that it's do or die or whatever. But if I hear it a couple times, then I'm going to door slam you. You're done, and I'm not going to spend any more time on you, because you hurt me, and for the most part you've exposed everything that I was. The other thing is basically just simply telling me to get out of your life. I will honor that. If you tell me you don't want to be friends anymore, you want to go your own separate ways, you don't want to hang out, you don't want me to call you or text or whatever, done. You may break my heart, but I will honor your request by simply telling me to get out of your life. And I've had people do that before, and I've honored it. I backed off, and it's like, okay, done. Because all I want to do is respect them. I know it's kind of a weird thing, but to me, it's kind of a respect thing. So it's not the best thing to do. And yes, I've had my heart broken so many times, but that's the only way that I know how to love. Basically, it's all or nothing. I don't know any other way of doing it. And I'm sure there's people out there that can just put the one toe in the water and they're okay with it, and that's fine. Hey, however you want to approach a relationship, that's fine. That's your area. I can't tell you anyway. I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you to ignore these emotions or whatever. But I'm just letting you know that for the vast majority of us introverts, we're all in. Another benefit that I thought was really, really cool, and when I'm either, if you're on a date, let's put it this way. If you're on a date, or like on our Friday nights and stuff there, when the family and I go out, I'm not on my phone. I'm not scrolling through stuff. I'm not Googling. I am not checking my status. I'm not checking TikTok to find out what the latest video is. When I'm there, I want to spend time with you. And this is probably something that comes because, like I've said before, I am old school. When I'm with you, I want to spend time with you. I want to hear about it. I want to talk. I'm all in. Yes, I know there's times that you check your phone, or somebody texts you that family or friends or something, whatever. I understand there's going to be times that you check your phone, but to sit there and actually scroll through and check everything out, or you go in and look at your emails or your status updates, or you played a game. Oh, it drives me nuts. I couldn't tell you how many times that I look around a restaurant anymore, and 90% of the people, their face is dug into their phone. You're spending time with that person, and yet you're sitting there playing a game, you're scrolling through stuff, you're checking your statuses, and it's like, why are you out and about then? And introverts, that's one thing that we do, is we want to hear from you, and we want to spend time with you. We're not interested in anything else. When I'm out and about, I want to know what's going on. Now, we all know that we have emergencies that come across the phone, or somebody needs something, or whatever the thing is. I understand that, but just know that most of us introverts, we're not going to spend time looking at our phone basically to try to figure, okay, well, this is boring. To me, it's just, that just drives me nuts, because every time I go out to a restaurant, every Friday night, it's one of the things that I look for, is I look all around for everybody, and I look to just see what they're, I'm not snooping, I'm not trying to invade their privacy, because it is very simple to see, oh, well, they're looking down, beep, 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 and they're going through all their phone crud. And it's like, seriously? You're supposed to be out with those people, enjoying, telling jokes, telling them about your day. If work is bothering you, or something at home is bothering you, that's what you're supposed to go out on a date for. Or well, let's be honest. I haven't been on a date in 30 years, so maybe dating has changed. I don't know. Like I said, it's been forever since I've been on a date. But all I could say is that just drives me nuts. For get off your phone, and that's one thing that we won't do. I mean, for the most part, is we're not going to be on the phone there. I genuinely want to hear about you. I'm investing in you. I'm taking the time, and like I've said in the past, there, I have realized that there is more time behind me now than I have ahead of me anymore. So if I want to spend my time with you, just know that time you can't buy anymore. You can't buy any more life on this beautiful blue globe. It just doesn't happen. There's no way of doing it. So if I'm investing in you, the remaining time I have on this earth, know that you mean something to me, because you can go out and get more money, you can get bigger houses, you can get more toys, you can, whatever the thing is, there's ways of getting more of virtually everything else in this world. But time is not. Time is finite. Whatever the clock that's ticking over our heads and saying this is how much time you have left, you have to, especially when you're older, you have to make use of all that time. When you're 19, 20, 21, you have your whole life ahead of you. You have the whole world ahead of you. And basically, you don't even realize the passage of time. When you get to somebody like me that's almost 50, you start looking at time differently. So, and I'm not saying this to be conceited or self-centered. Don't take it that way. But my older family members that are listening to this podcast, I think you're going to understand where I'm coming from, because we just don't have time for the drama, the games, all the other hoo-ha that goes with all of that stuff. We want to genuinely get to know you. So we're not going to spend time on our date looking at our phone. If you do, well, I guess you probably better find somebody else. But the vast majority of us aren't going to do that, because we genuinely want to spend time with you. I mean, if you drug us out to a restaurant, we have to be around people. Well, I can tell you this: I want to know what's going on, and I want to be a part of your life, and I'm only interested in you because it allows me to concentrate on you and make things better. But that's all I can say. And one of the other things that I thought of is, us introverts can make either another introvert or an extrovert, we can make you feel safe in this crazy world. And what I mean by that is, basically, we do everything a little bit slower, methodical. Everything's kind of planned out. Now, for our extrovert family and friends out there that's listening to this podcast, that is something that can actually help you guys just a little bit, I think, because you guys are so incredibly energetic. You're in the middle of everything. You're doing so many things. You guys are absolutely amazing. But one thing that is it's overwhelming for us introverts to try to get to know you, to talk to you, and everything else. So if you ever get to the point where I know you extroverts run out of energy at some point, you can't just go to a convenience store and buy more energy and drink it. I mean, I think they got cans for that, but who knows? I don't know. I have my Mountain Dew, like I said, and that's all I know. Yes, you have your energy drinks and your Monsters and all that stuff there. But what I'm saying is that at some point you even run out of energy. And we introverts will provide a nice, safe haven for you to come home to feel comfortable, to back down, to say, okay, you know what? Maybe it is okay that we just sit on the couch and watch a movie, or we watch our favorite TV show that we both like. Maybe we should binge watch 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 episodes. However many you want to binge watch. Depends on how long they are. If they're only 22 minutes long, like most of the episodes are anymore, man, you can burn through a season real quick. And not that I know firsthand or anything about that, but it's possible. But just know that that's another benefit that you extroverts can get from us is we'll slow you down a little bit. We'll let you take a break, just to breathe a little bit. You're pulling us into your world. Well, we're going to pull you into our world, which I think is kind of fair, to try to kind of level the playing field. And to me it works. I mean, I've had many people that have come to my house or talked to me, and they feel better by just sitting in the house, because I have the whole house set up to where it's just basically to take the stress off of you and make you feel better, and to basically just force you to settle down. And that's the way my whole house is set up, and that's the way I want to set up, because when I come home, I've had to go crazy. I've had tons of emails, phone calls, folks asking for things, problems to solve. There's just crazy drivers, people that don't use their blinkers, drives me nuts. But you have all that stuff there that overwhelms an introvert so fast. So when we come home, we just want to decompress. We want to just relax. And I think that would be a good thing for our extrovert family members out there that are listening to help them out. I think it's a good thing for you guys as well. And I'd like you to think of it as a benefit. So, okay, I've got one more section here. I'm kind of watching the time on my monitor, and we're starting to creep up a little bit. But I thought that, and I apologize to the ladies. I mean, this is for you, but keep in mind, I'm a guy, and I wanted to say a couple of things that if you're interested in an introverted man, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter. These work either way. I mean, there's no prejudice here. It doesn't bother me a bit. You be you. I think it's amazing. You can only be the best you that you can be you. But I thought that, because I sat down, and like I said, I've been thinking about this for a little while when I was putting my notes together, and I thought, okay, what is, how do you know, basically, when an introverted man is into you or kind of fallen in love with you? And I had to really think about this, because I had to say, it's been so long since I've been in a romantic relationship. I really had to think. I had to really sit. It took me a couple hours to come up with these, because it was kind of like, I'm not quite sure what do I do when I'm interested into somebody. I had to really think about it for a little bit. And I know you're probably sitting out there laughing, Sean, you're such a nutcase. I am a nutcase, not going to argue that one. But I had to actually really think about, okay, what do I do when I'm interested in somebody? Because one thing about a Taurus, which I am, Tauruses never make the first step to initiate a romantic relationship. I don't know why it is, and I've had plenty of Taurus friends, and they all tell me the same thing. To take the initial step, we don't do it. We'll walk you all the way to that point, and we'll come around to where, okay, we could walk up to you and say, would you like to date? Unfortunately, we don't do it that way. We will say 15 other things referring to, I like to do this, or I want to do that, or are you interested in this, or are you interested in that, or what do you think about this, or this is my thoughts, or we'll basically walk you up to it. But for the most part, we don't pull the trigger on the first one. Now, after that first step has been stepped, there's no slowing us down at that point. It's kind of like, oh, here we go, we're all in. But I got to thinking, okay, so if you're interested in an introverted man, and so these are some of the things that, I come up with. The first thing that I do is I call more often, or I text more often, because I want communication with you. I'm not saying that I'm a leech or anything like that there, but I like just sending the errand text of, hey, how are you doing? Hope you have a good day. I'm thinking of you. Anything like that. I just want them to know that I am interested and I'm thinking of it. And to me, I don't know if you can get much better than that. That somebody's thinking of you and they send you a stray text. I could be wrong, but to me that means all the world. When or if like if say somebody they went home early because they just weren't feeling well, you shoot them a text, say, hey, are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? To me, that means you're investing into the relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic. And to me, that's amazing. But normally, an introverted man, when they're interested, he'll call more often, he'll text more often, he'll just try to find a way to talk to you. Another thing that I do, and I know other introverts do, is we'll do little things to make you happy. Like I said, part of the text there, or we'll buy you your favorite food, or flowers, or it doesn't matter whatever you like. I mean, you may like Uggs. Who knows? I don't know what it is. Like I said, I've been out of the dating world forever. But you do little things. Like, to me, I would always either have supper ready, or I'd clean a house, or there's times that I'd show up for lunch and I'd have a picnic basket, or I shot I would leave when they took lunches to work, I would put something in their meal pack, in their lunchbox, and saying, hey, thinking of you, miss you, see you tonight. Little things like that. To me, that's something that we like to do. We do the little things because all we want to do is see you smile. We'll go out of our way just to talk to you, and we may not even say much. And it may be like, there's been time, we may walk up to you and they're like, and you can ask, what do you want? And you go, I'm out of here. Gone. But we've just made the effort to come talk to you and come see you because we wanted to be in your area. We wanted to feel your energy. And for introverts, that's huge for us because we can gauge people and what they're thinking and stuff just by the energy that you radiate. I know it's weird, and you're probably thinking, okay, Sean, you know what? Lay off the booze. You went off the deep end. But typically, we're very, very good at. We just want to do the little things that make you happy, and we go out of our way to do it. And another thing is like, I had to think is like, okay, if I really, really like somebody, what's one thing that I'll do to show them? And I may not be happy about it, but I'll go out and I'll be social with you. I'll go either to the bar, I'll go to a restaurant, I'll go to another friend's house of yours. Because basically what we want to do is we want to say you're important to us. That's really to me is what it is. And we want to spend time with you. And sometimes we have to get, basically we have to get pulled out of our shells to do it. And it's not easy. And sometimes you might have to ask half a dozen times before we finally wear down and say, okay, you mean enough to me that I'm going to go out and brave the world. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Another thing that we do, I don't know how to say it really. Our body language changes. I'll say it that way. For me, I'm very closed off, very reserved. I don't like being touched. I keep my distance. I understand the personal bubble around every person. Well, I pretty much triple that personal bubble and everything that I can. But when we're interested, we may come up and either touch your arm or touch your shoulder, or find a reason to sit a little closer to you. It doesn't have to be a lot, but when we're starting to fall in love, essentially, this is going to be more for love. To us, we show our affection through touch. It may not be a lot, and I can't speak to all the introvert friends out there and stuff there, but typically, sex doesn't weigh into it right away because we're very closed off, and we're only going to be, because to me that's a very intimate thing. But if I come up and either touch your arm or touch your shoulder or something like that, that means that I'm really, really digging you. and I have talked to a few other introvert friends and stuff there, and they're the same way. That's, they just start to slowly kind of like eke out there a little bit, and start, just touching just lightly. And I know it sounds weird, but that is actually a way. And the more into you is, the more he'll try, and the more he'll try to, to make, it'll all be done in comfortable. There's not creepy. It's not like you're going to have to be get a stalking restraint or anything like that there, But, it's just the little things. And keep in mind with introverts, the little things are huge to us. And that'll help you understand the introverted man a little bit more. And remember, we have been raised and taught that we have to keep our emotions locked up. We're not allowed to show any. We're not allowed to show hurt. We're not allowed to show vulnerability. So if he takes a moment to just find a reason to either touch your arm or touch your shoulder or something like that, know that he's really, really talking to you, and he's really wants to be with you. So that's another way. Another thing is that I kind of thought about is we open up to you. We actually tell you about how our day went, and we make you part of our lives. There's so many times that people misunderstand and think that, well, you're just closed off, you're just, you're arrogant, you're not going to talk to us, you don't want anything to do with me. The thing that it is when we start talking about ourselves a little bit more, even if we start sharing about what happened to us throughout the day, they're opening up to you. You just have to look for the little signs. And this is one sign is if we start talking about our day and sharing, our vulnerabilities and stuff there, that's huge, because you're not going to get much better than that, really, because we're telling you about ourselves. We're letting you know what hurts us, what we do and what we don't like. To me, those are huge steps. To me, it's touch, and if we start sharing our vulnerabilities basically with you, and we talk to you about our day, those are huge. Those are absolute monsters. That will tell you how interested really an introvert man is. And the last thing is, probably the last telltale sign I could think of is I want to go, when I'm ready to, meet your family, meet your friends, because basically I want to see who's important to you. It's not that I'm trying to, snoop around and learn who you, basically shove you away and, from your friends and everything else. I'm trying to genuinely get to know you and get to know your world. And for an introvert, that's huge, because that's basically that deep conversation that I was telling you about. That's kind of how that all fits in. I make so many different exceptions in my life and stuff there. When I'm interested in somebody, I'll start to get out of my comfort zone, and one of it is meeting your friends and and saying, okay, let's maybe we should go and have dinner together sometime, or maybe we should go to the lake or something like that. Just know that if he's doing that, he's really into you. That, I'll be honest, because you're pulling us out of our comfort zone, and when we start getting pulled out of our comfort zone, that can either have disastrous results or it can be good results for you. And it all depends on how you do it. The faster you try to pull us out of our comfort zone, you're going to get resistance. We're going to dig our heels in and we're going to shut down. But if you give us time to come out of our shell on our terms and make things work, you'd be surprised on how much you're going to get out of us. So to me, that's some of the things that I thought of. If you're interested in dating an introverted man, those are just some of the things that I came up with. And like I said, it took time. This whole episode took me a long time to figure out, because, like I said, I haven't been in a romantic relationship in almost a decade. So I had to. It was like, oh my goodness. I can barely remember what I had for breakfast this morning, let alone 10 years ago. But overall, as long as you give us introverts time to come out of our shells and talk to us, have deep conversations, and all that stuff there, everything that we covered in the podcast today, I think you're going to find a friendship like you've never had before, and you can also find a relationship like you've never known before too in the dating world. So to me, that's the way it is. And once you earn my trust, then I pretty much open up to you. It's hard to earn my trust, but once you do, then I'm pretty much an open book. You ask me and I'll tell you. That's just pretty much the way I am. So all right, I am noticing by the time on my monitor and stuff there that we're pretty well out of time for this podcast. So I just wanted to say, remember, you've got this. I believe in you. I know you're gonna do well. Remember to keep the positive thoughts throughout the day. Keep growing, keep learning. I hope those deep conversations come for you introverts and stuff there. Do everything you can. Just remember to hit like, subscribe, share, comment, and everything there. Anything to try to help us out to get the podcast out there. Tell your family and friends and stuff. The more shares, the more likes that you guys do on the Facebook page, the YouTube page, whatever platform you're listening to, actually moves us up in the search algorithms, and it allows us to add to our family out there, because y'all are my family. You're my extended family. I'm so proud to know you. I'm so proud to be able to talk to you. I'm so proud that you make me part of your day by listening to the podcast. So I want to try to help as many people as we can, and it's a great thing. Let's see how much positivity that we can send all the way across. I mean, let's see what we can do. So, to end this podcast for today, as always, okay, start your groaning, I already heard it, dad joke of the day. I thought, this is a pretty good one here. I thought this was pretty funny, so I'm hoping you like it. So, here's the dad joke of the day. Do you know why the computer went to bed? It needed to crash. I told you, they just get better and better. Thanks so much for listening. You guys are amazing. Thanks for being out there listening to me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as always, all my love and support